The poisoned blade. The humid Guangzhou night pressed in, a suffocating blanket woven from the scent of jasmine and decay. Rain slicked the cobblestone streets, reflecting the dim glow of paper lanterns like malevolent eyes. The assassin, known only as the Viper, moved like a wraith, his footsteps swallowed by the downpour. He was a master of his craft, a shadow sculpted from the very darkness he embraced. His target, Hei Ga Lek, the poisonous snake killer, leader of the Iron Snake Gate. The Viper carried a blade, not just any blade, but a slender, wickedly curved dagger, its surface subtly treated with a potent neurotoxin, a kiss of death, swift and silent. He stalked his prey with the patience of a seasoned hunter, his senses honed to a razor's edge. The air vibrated with the subtle sounds of the city, the distant chatter of vendors, the rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer, the mournful cry of a stray dog. But to the Viper, these were mere background noise, distractions to be filtered out. His focus was unwavering, his gaze fixed on his objective. He had studied Hei Ga Lek's movements, his habits, his routines. He knew the layout of the Iron Snake Gate headquarters, a hidden compound tucked away in the city's labyrinthine alleys. The Viper found his opportunity amidst the chaos of a sudden downpour. The rain hammered down, obscuring his approach, creating a natural veil of concealment. He slipped through the back gate, unseen, unheard, a phantom gliding through the shadows. He moved with an unnerving grace, his body a symphony of controlled movements, each step calculated, each breath measured. He navigated the maze-like corridors of the compound, his senses alert to any sign of his target. Hei Ga Lek was meditating in a small courtyard, his back to the gate, his posture radiating an almost unnatural stillness. The courtyard was enclosed by weathered walls, covered in creeping vines, and the air hummed with a strange energy. The Viper observed his target for a long moment, a tense assessment of the situation. He detected no guards, and the atmosphere felt strangely calm, lacking the usual bustle of the Iron Snake Gate. The lack of activity made the Viper wary, sensing a potential trap. He unsheathed his dagger, its slender blade catching the faint light of the lanterns, gleaming like a venomous serpent's fang. The Viper moved with the precision of a surgeon. His intention was to deliver a single, precise strike, a swift, silent end. He closed the distance between himself and Hei Ga Lek, his movements fluid and deadly, the epitome of calculated lethality. 18. But Hei Ga Lek was not as unsuspecting as he seemed. A faint tremor in the air, a barely perceptible shift in the energy surrounding him, alerted the master to the impending danger. His eyes snapped open, twin points of steel piercing the darkness. He was no ordinary man. His senses were heightened, honed by years of rigorous training and mystical practice. In a blur of motion he spun, his body a coiled spring unleashing its lethal energy. The clash was swift, brutal, a furious dance of steel and shadow. The Viper's attack was lightning fast, a vicious lunge intended to pierce Hei Ga Lek's heart. But the Grandmaster was ready. His response was a whirlwind of Iron Snake Gate Kung Fu, a lethal blend of powerful movements and devastating strikes. He parried the Viper's attack with effortless grace, his movements fluid and precise. The fight was a maelstrom of motion, a whirlwind of limbs and blades, a silent symphony of death. The Viper, despite his remarkable skill, found himself on the defensive. Hei Ga Lek's movements were unpredictable, his attacks swift and unrelenting. The Grandmaster's years of experience gave him an edge, his anticipation of the Viper's moves both unnerving and deadly. He used the courtyard's limited space to his advantage, weaving through the rain-soaked foliage, his movements a blur in the dimly lit courtyard. The Viper, skilled as he was, found himself struggling to keep up. He was forced to rely on his speed and agility, his every parry a desperate gamble. The fight spilled out from the courtyard and into the surrounding buildings, a deadly chase through the darkened corridors of the Iron Snake Gate. The battle echoed through the compound, the sounds of clashing steel mixed with the rhythmic patter of the rain. The air crackled with tension, the very air seeming to hold its breath as the two deadly warriors engaged in a life-or-death struggle. It was a relentless ballet of death, A struggle for survival played out amidst the shadows and the rain. As the fight continued, Hei Ga Lek subtly drew upon the Loshu magic he had cultivated over the years. It was not a blatant display of mystical power, but rather a subtle enhancement to his movements, a refinement of his senses, a sharpening of his reflexes. The Loshu magic infused him with an almost supernatural awareness, granting him a fraction of a second's advantage in the deadly dance. This subtle edge tipped the scales in his favor, allowing him to anticipate the Viper's moves more effectively, countering every strike with precision and deadly force. The Viper, despite his skills and the potency of his poison, began to tire. Hei Ga Lek's relentless assault was wearing him down, his defenses crumbling under the relentless pressure. The Grandmaster's mystical enhancement made him seem faster, stronger, 19, even almost impossible to strike. Each of Hei Ga Lek's attacks was deliberate and precise. He was slowly but surely breaking down the assassin's defenses. The rain-slicked stone floor presented an additional challenge for the Viper, who slipped on several occasions. The near misses fueled the Grandmaster's renewed strength and relentless attack. The Viper was on the verge of defeat and death. Finally, with a swift, decisive strike, Hei Ga Lek disarmed the Viper, the poisoned dagger clattering harmlessly on the stone floor. The Viper, his breath ragged, his body screaming in protest, found himself staring into the cold, unforgiving eyes of his opponent. Hei Ga Lek held him by the throat, his grip like a vice. The Viper, defeated and utterly outmatched, felt the icy grip of death closing around him. The Grandmaster's movements had been swift and relentless, but never brutal, showing only respect for the highly skilled assassin he had defeated. The rain continued to fall, a relentless rhythm that mirrored the relentless intensity of the battle that had just concluded. The Viper's final moments were filled with the chilling recognition that he had underestimated his opponent and overestimated his own skills. The shadow had been defeated, the serpent had been slain, the rain had stopped, leaving behind a glistening city and a courtyard awash in the soft light of dawn. Hei Ga Lek released his blood-soaked grip on the unconscious Viper, his gaze lingering on the fallen assassin before turning towards his disciple, Wan, who had watched the entire fight with a mixture of awe and apprehension. The young man, despite his considerable skill, had never witnessed such a masterful display of Iron Snake Gate Kung Fu, a skill honed to perfection by years of rigorous training and augmented by the mystical arts. Wan, Hei Ga Lek began, his voice low and resonant. You witnessed the culmination of years of dedication, the culmination of our training, not just in martial prowess, but also in the manipulation of the mystical energies. The Viper, despite his skill and deadly poison, was no match for the power we wield. And that power, my disciple, comes not just from our bodies, but from the Loshu. Wan approached cautiously, his eyes fixed on his master. He had long sensed the unusual power that seemed to emanate from Hei Ga Lek, a power that transcended mere physical strength. The rumors of the Loshu's mystical influence on the Iron Snake Gate's fighting style were nothing new, but to witness it firsthand, to see the tangible manifestation of this mystical art in action, was a revelation. Hei Ga Lek gestured towards a weathered stone in the courtyard, its surface etched with intricate carvings. This Wan is a representation of the Loshu, the 20 magic square. It is more than just a pattern. It's a key, a gateway to manipulating the Qi, the vital energy that flows through all living things, including ourselves. He traced the lines of the carving with a calloused finger, his movements slow and deliberate. Our ancestors, the founders of the Iron Snake Gate, discovered the secrets of the Loshu centuries ago. They learned to channel its power, to weave its mystical energies into our fighting style. He knelt, carefully removing a small, intricately carved wooden box from beneath the stone. Inside, nestled on a bed of faded silk, was a meticulously crafted jade Loshu, its surface shimmering with an ethereal glow. Wan leaned closer, mesmerized by the intricate detail and the subtle emanation of energy from the jade.